And so courtship takes about 6 to 8 weeks before they settle on their choice of partner. And there has been a lot of courtship going on over the last few days. There was a little bit going on earlier. So in terms of the courtship behaviour, what you want to see them doing is they like to make themselves look nice and big. So you'll see them posing and stretching their necks up to the sky. You'll also see them regurgitating food for their partner of choice. So if they are retching and looking like they're about to vomit, that's trying to attract a mate. Don't try it on a night out, folks. It never worked for me when I was younger. And they'll also check out their partner's feet. So you will see them looking at each other's feet and clicking their beaks like Spike's doing at me at the moment. I'm flattered, Spike, but there are female penguins you should be looking at. And then the most important part of the courtship is they must learn to recognise their mate by call. And it's not these little grunts and growls at the moment. This is very much a get out of the way, back off sort of call. But their courtship call is a low, rumbling, trumpeting sort of call, which you can't mistake if you hear it later on. And that call is all important because out in the wild, king penguins don't live in groups of 13 like we have here today. The largest colony in the Falklands last year was estimated to be 675,000 penguins strong. Now, if you imagine you've been at sea for 10 days and you come ashore and you've got to find one penguin in over 500,000, you don't want to walk around and look at every individual bird because you know you'll come out this side of the group and your partner will be on this side and you'll pass each other on the way through. So, by learning your mate by call, you can come ashore and shout, and Mr. or Mrs. Penguin will hear you and call back, and they'll find each other straight away. So we do get a little bit of courtship calling during the feed most days, so keep your ears open. If you do hear one of them shout, you'll imagine how loud 500,000 of them sound at the same time, and you might appreciate why people come in every year from the car park just behind us over here, asking where we keep our elephants as well. So we get that every single year without fail. But before they breed, I should just point out what's happening with these two fat, scruffy-looking ones at the front. We've got Bill and Sid. Bill's the scruffy one towards the front. She's molting at the moment. So basically, she's coming into breeding condition now. She's getting rid of all of her old feathers, growing the new ones underneath and pushing the old ones out. That will set her up ready to breed. And Sid, the brown one at the front, is just fattening up for her molt because you can see how scruffy Bill looks. All those extra feathers, if she was in the wild, would slow her down in the water, and she wouldn't catch any food. She'd probably be eaten by a killer whale anyway. So Sid is fattening up, ready for her molt. So she's probably eating on average at the moment, rather than 20 herring a day like everyone else, I would think she's having anywhere between 60 and 90 fish a day right now. And then she'll just live off her fat while she molts. So that's why those two are fattening up. But as I say, we've got the courtship going on. Hopefully it's eggs any time now. And our female kings just lay a single egg. The very simple fact that their eggs are huge. This one isn't the best example because this egg laid last year was the biggest egg we'd ever had. This one was 400 grams exactly, which if you've walked around the park, if you've seen the two small Scots owls in the aviaries down there, those two together weigh 350 grams. So this egg is 50 grams heavier than those two combined. This egg is incubated on top of the parent's feet, tucked under the belly, as you've all probably seen on TV with emperor penguins. But unlike the emperors, where the males do all the incubation, with king penguins, mum and dad do take it in turns to incubate. So they nest on the coast, they don't have to do massive walks every day. So they'll swap every 3 or 4 days or so. Their egg will be incubated for about 56 days on average, and then your chick will hatch out over the next 2 or 3 days. And the last chick born here is this guy. This is Spike. Spike hatched back in 2007, and when he hatched, he weighed 170 grams and was ever so slightly smaller than that cuddly toy. So very, very small, not cute and cuddly like this at all. He was actually very, very ugly. Like most fish-eating birds' chicks, there's no point being pretty and fluffy when mum and dad are regurgitating liquidized fish on you every couple of hours because you get caked in all sorts of muck. So he was actually bold, brown, fat, long-necked and big-eyed. So if you think of the film character E.T., that's pretty much what he looked like as a chick. They do grow very quickly because they have to bulk up to survive the cold weather, and they bulk up by mum and dad just regurgitating a nice rich diet of fish and squid for them. And unfortunately, when Spike was an egg back in 2007, we had problems with his mum and dad, in the fact that we don't know who dad is. Dad never revealed himself. Poor old mum got fed up of incubating the egg by herself, and we watched her abandon the egg on the floor down there. We couldn't get her to take it back, and no one else was incubating at the time. So Spike went in our incubators, and because no one was sat on an egg, we had to hand rear him from day one. So we're not completely sure who dad is, although personally, and you're like this, Rebecca, because he is your favourite penguin, we always blame Frank, because he is the naughtiest penguin in the group. Now, he should have one girlfriend a year. He's been known to have 3 different girls on the go at the same time in the past. He's been known to pair it with male penguins in the past. He's paired it with my left leg and my right leg in the past, and he has tried mating with the fish bucket once as well. So now he is a proven breeder. He fathered Sid back in 2006 and reared her up to adulthood, and he's also fathered Junior, who sat just down by Rebecca on the far side as well. So he is a proven breeder, but he likes to be a little bit different from time to time. So we'll blame Frank for Spike, but thankfully this guy was very easy to look after. Only 4 feeds a day, so no late nights, no early starts, which is always a blessing. And to feed him, all we did was blend up some fish and some squid and vitamins into a paste, put it in a syringe, talk to him. Every time you feed them, talk to them so they can learn to recognise you by voice. And within 2 days of doing that, a simple "good morning Spike, here's your breakfast" would result in him tipping his head back and opening his mouth up wide. So he just literally squirted out the syringe in about 5 seconds flat. So very, very easy to do. Unfortunately, without Mum and Dad to protect him, we couldn't put him in with the adults until he was big enough to fend for himself, which was about 6 months. So for that first half a year, he only had contact with us. And although we've ignored him as much as we can, we've deliberately never stroked him, we've never made a fuss of him at all. He obviously has grown up seeing us as a source of food and a source of protection. So he is a little bit clingy. That's why he was down by the gate when we came in, and that's why he followed us up to the side of the pool. And as flattering as that is to have a penguin chasing you around everywhere and all the time, that's no benefit for us or for him. He needs to give me some grandchildren, ideally, because he is one of only 13 in England. And we're quietly confident he might try and breed, because he was seen trying to mate with 2 different things this week. One, admittedly, was the rock in the middle there. I don't quite know what he was trying there. But he was seen hanging around with a female earlier this week. Unfortunately, it was his grandmother. So if we get an egg there, we will have to destroy it. But at least it's progress. It's not him chasing me around. And there are two or three females in here that he could quite happily pair up with. So hopefully he'll go and breed. And we think he knows what he's got to do. Because although he's never had contact with Mum or Dad at all, if we give him his cuddly toy, this is what he grew up with when he was a chick, instinct tells him to put that on top of his feet like he would do with a proper chick. On cold days in January this year, he was tucking it under his tummy to keep it nice and warm. And he has been seen trying to feed this cuddly toy on several different occasions as well. Now, we've stopped giving it to him now, because unfortunately in March he kept drowning it. He kept taking it in the pool and taking it to the bottom, which is not good for a baby penguin. So if we can get a fertile egg from him, brilliant. We'll either leave the chick with Mum and get him out of the way. We can foster it out, as I say, to Ollie and Oscar, or another pair of penguins. Or we can always hand rear again if we have to. But if we can get fertile eggs, that will just make all that hard work of hand rearing him all the worthwhile. And whilst he has been fairly tame, I'm not going to lie, we have made pretty good use of Spike, in the fact that he's a penguin that we use for modelling and for TV. Now, we never send the birds out anywhere. Any work's always done in here and usually involves cameras and lights and stages being set up. And most of the penguins aren't too keen on that. They'll generally go in the pool and keep out of the way. Spike's naturally very curious, so anything that's unusual, he's there like a rocket. He's the first one to sit on ice cubes if we put them in there in the summer for them to cool off, and he'll just check anything out like a rocket. So in the last few years he has done several different programmes on the BBC for us. He's also done some work on Channel 5 with Michaela Strachan, and he has done adverts on TV for LG freezers and an Icelandic bank. In terms of modelling, he's in several different encyclopedias from DK, and he is going to be on your Christmas cards come December again this year, folks. So sorry for saying Christmas in April, but he has been photographed already. So if you get a king penguin come December time, remember us. And if it's a king penguin incubating an egg, every chance we've got Spike incubating that cuddly toy for those photos. He's also a very handy advertising tool for us, because he is now on Facebook and Twitter, for those of you into your social networking. He's been on Facebook for 2 years now. Initially it started off as a joke, and he's now got 5 times as many friends as I have, so it's not as funny anymore. But on Facebook, just search for Spike the King Penguin. It will come up with several different pages, because for some reason he's got people who try and impose him all year round. We keep trying to block him, and they keep trying to impose him again. The best way to tell the difference between the fake ones and the real Spike on Facebook, he's got over 1,700 friends. On Twitter, he's been tweeting for about 6 months now. That's at Spike King Peng. And both Facebook and Twitter have regular updates throughout the year. So if we get eggs, chicks, new birds arriving, you'll find out about it first on there. And on Facebook you can also see video of Spike at 2 days of age being hand-fed, and video of me teaching him how to swim, which was quite a challenge in itself as well. So, because we spent so much time with Spike, he is the easiest of our king penguins to recognise, just because he's so laid back more than anything else. But all 13 of the kings here are adopted. Every single one of them is named, so we need to recognise them for the adoptees, and again for breeding purposes. We've got some courtship going on from the pair at the back at the moment. They're doing a little bit of beak clicking, so just keep an eye on them. And thankfully, because we hand feed these guys, we get up close and personal with them. You can learn to recognise them all by sight and all by personality as well. So I'm just going to point some of them out quite quickly and tell you how we recognise them. And we'll start with Squeaky, who's just walking this way in the middle there. Squeaky you can recognise by his beak, because back in 2002 he broke it. So if you look very closely at the right hand side of his lower bill, you might see where the vet had to super glue him back together. Now, he did that on November the 5th, which you all know is bonfire night, and they used to hold the fireworks across the road on the cricket pitch, which is great if you're a member of the village, not so good for our animals. And Squeaky was found at 9 o'clock in the evening by the keeper living on site at the time, sprawled out beside the rock in the middle there. He'd obviously tripped over it where the flashes and the bangs had scared him, and he'd bent his lower beak off to a 45-degree angle. But the vet came out the next morning, literally just dabbed some super glue on him and put him in a splint, and 2 weeks later when we removed the splint, his beak was nice and straight, and we've had no problems ever since. He's just got that little rough patch, which is how you can recognise him. Other penguins that are quite easy to recognise, we've got Norman, who stood, I'm just trying to spot Norman for you. Norman is this guy in the middle just down here, and he's got much longer claws than anybody else in the group. Now we do regularly trim the claws on things like starlings and parrots. We've never done it with a penguin, but we have to consider with him, he's always in a bad mood. He's actually our naughtiest of our king penguins, and so we are a little bit reluctant to catch him up unless we have to. The long claws aren't affecting his walking, they're not affecting him swimming, so we're going to leave him alone for the time being. But if they do get much longer, now it's cricket season, it's not so bad, because I can have my cricket pads on, I can have my arm guards and my helmet for a little bit of protection, because he can swim at 10 miles an hour by doing that, so if he slaps you, you know about it. And he's the only penguin who, if he's in a bad mood, will physically draw his head back and try and spear you with his beak. Everyone else will just give you a little nibble. So it's no coincidence he's called Norman, as in the psycho as well. Other penguins that are quite easy to recognise, we've got Bob just in the middle down here. Bob has got pot belly, always has done, despite various different exercise programmes. He's just naturally very fat. And we've got Missy, our oldest one, who's right at the back of the group. And there's two ways to recognise Missy. If you've noticed a penguin walking around with a blind left eye, that's her. That's a courtship call. Obviously insulting him about being fat didn't put him off. But as I say, Missy is blind in the left eye. The main way to recognise her, if I can get her to lift her head up, she has got a hole in her throat. Now, she's our oldest penguin here, and we don't know how old she is, because she's been with us for 31 years, but she arrived as a wild-caught bird all those years ago. She was an adult penguin when she turned up here, so we think she's 37. I don't know of any older penguins in the country, so she could be the UK's oldest penguin at the moment. And she's here by mistake. She was captured by a fisherman out in South Georgia back in 1981, I think it was, and unfortunately he was trying to catch tuna, and he caught her instead. And the hook did exactly the same as it would do to a fish. It went straight through her throat and caused her a significant injury. Now the vets got her here, they cleaned her up, got her on antibiotics, but they couldn't stitch her throat back together. So she's still got that hole in her chin to this day. That makes her very easy to recognise, and sometimes what she'll do, at least 3 times a week, she will poke her tongue out through the hole in her neck like that. Now, if you see that, please don't be alarmed. She's honestly just being a little bit rude. In 11 years with working with her, I've not once had to poke her tongue back in. That hole causes her no discomfort at all. She can eat and drink and hold her breath as well as everybody else. And as I say, at 37 years of age, she's twice the age you would expect to live to in the wild. So she's going pretty strong still. She is getting a little bit frail, so I'll whisper this part, she is the only penguin that gets breakfast every day. She gets 2 feeds a day compared to everyone else. She'll get extra vitamins, extra medicine. And she could live for quite a while yet. I have heard of them reaching 56 in captivity. And that's mainly because of lack of predators. Obviously we don't keep killer whales or leopard seals in the pool. and the vet's just down the road. And she is still laying eggs for us, or she was last year, and she's looking like the penguin most likely to pair up and breed for us this year as well. Now, unfortunately, last year's egg was more the size of a Humboldt egg than a king egg, but considering she's 37 and she's pairing up with Seth, who's 34, they're both too old to breed. So we'd rather they kept each other company rather than her pairing up with a prime breeding age male and him with a young female. So that's how you can recognise most of them. A couple of them are more difficult. So again, in theory, they should be wearing coloured bands, but we've taken a lot of them off where they've been molting recently. And the worst one to recognise in the group is actually Missy's boyfriend at the moment. That's a penguin called Seth. He's wearing the green and black tag. And although they don't pair for life, this is the 22nd year on the spot that those two have paired up. So usually if you can't find Seth, look for Missy and he's not far away. Barring that, the only way you can recognise him is to watch him walk, because if he goes to walk over any great distance, he doesn't walk like everybody else, he swaggers. You'll see him swaying from side to side like that on every single step. Realistically, that's again because he's very old at 34 years of age. We say he swaggers because he is a genuine Hollywood superstar. Now back in the late 80s, when we had a lot more king penguins, we sent 10 birds out to Hollywood to star in Batman Returns, and he's one of those 10 king penguins. He's the last one of that group left, but he plays an evil penguin in that movie as part of Danny DeVito's Penguin Army. You will see him trying to blow up Gotham City with a rocket pack at one point. He was unsuccessful. Now, although our birds don't get star billing on the credit, you can just see him swaying from side to side as he goes there. Although our birds don't get star billing on the credits, it just says Penguins courtesy of Birdland. We know for a fact that they've got their own extras on the DVD, and legend has it that they had a bigger dressing room than Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton. So as far as we're concerned, they are the main stars of the movie. So hopefully, as I say, they're looking the pair most likely to breed. If we can get the older birds laying eggs at the very least, it should stimulate the rest of the group to hurry up and breed. We're just waiting for 2 of our 4 females to finish their molt, and then hopefully they are late this year in terms of eggs, but because, although they live in cold weather, because February and March were so cold, a lot of the birds are behind on the breeding this year. So pretty much the only eggs we've got in the park at the moment are from a Himalayan species of pheasant and a Himalayan species of magpie, which like the cold. So hopefully we've got eggs coming before too long. All this courtship's quite encouraging. And if you want to keep in touch with what's going on with the penguins, as I say, Spike's Facebook and Twitter will be regularly updated, as will the local press and our main website as well. And on our website, we have now got Penguin Webcam running live on the internet 24 hours a day, which is always worth a look, particularly if there's snow in the Cotswolds, folks. There was 2 days this January when I couldn't get in for snow. Every time I looked on the webcam, you could always see someone toboggling along on their bellies like it was a nature documentary. And we did have Spike incubating a snowball live on the internet at one point as well. And you can also find details on our website on how to help us feed the penguins as well. If it's something you fancy doing, this is a very unique experience. Less than 1,000 people have done what Rebecca's done in this country. And I think she deserves a round of applause for helping me out today, and she's made it look very, very easy. So thank you very, very much for your help. And the bad news is she's done such a good job, there's no fish left for the penguins. So you can see Spike's had enough, he's gone now. He knows I've got more fish around the back ready for tomorrow, so that's where he's heading. So we'll wrap the talk up just there, folks, but if anyone does have any questions, please do feel free to ask away. You might be trying to make that rock again in a minute. We do have more information on our king penguins on the board on the side just opposite the pool just there. And there's all the information on the various different types of penguins down at the bottom. And if you want to see more birds eating fish, at 3:15, Helen will be feeding the pelicans. Just follow the 2 pathways down around the trout pond, and that will take you there. Or alternatively, I probably shouldn't say it, follow the herons, because they'll be making their way down there as well. But I hope you've enjoyed learning about our penguins today, folks, and thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.